Hello, I'm your host Jim McLean. Welcome back to another episode of the BANTERFLIX Movie Review Show. Let's see what we'll be talking about tonight. We'll be reviewing The Bride, which is out in cinemas now, and film historian Robert J E Simpson will be talking about the character's historical significance. Our pick of the streams is a reboot of Scrubs on Disney+. And we'll wrap up as we showcase the Ferry Film Club ahead of their screening of Saipan on the 26th of March. So that's what we've lined up for you this week. Joining me in the studio here in Belfast is the lovely Anita Jurkovic.
Hello.
And Hamish Calvert.
Hi, Jim.
Hello to you both. As we record, we are just about to hear the Oscars. The Oscars, not this exact moment, but this weekend ahead of the recording of this episode, the Oscars are going to be announced. Any predictions that will look wonderfully insightful or just absolutely bonkers? Any predictions for the Academy Awards? Conan O'Brien hosting again? Will it be Timothée Chalamet's year? Is anyone going to beat Jessie Buckley? I can't see it. Anita, for you, any predictions?
Oh, Jessie Buckley, definitely. Like, if she doesn't win, I'm gonna riot. Like, I'm 100% sure she's gonna win Best Female.
So if there's a riot kind of in Belfast, we will know specifically
it's
because of you.
I'm an honorary Irish person. I'm standing behind Jessie Buckley. Yeah.
Yeah, I cannot say. Although I do love Rose Byrne, and If I'd Kick Your Headlights, I do think she's great in that film. As someone who was, when I saw the trailer, when I saw the poster, I was very piffy about it. I thought, this is another Jennifer Aniston. I will go without makeup for an Oscar nomination. But when I watched the film, she is tremendous in that movie. Hamish, what about you? Jessie Buckley, again, like me, you can't see anyone getting their hand on that Oscar in that category?
Yeah, it's hers to lose, definitely. And I think it's nice that we know we've got that. She's got it in the bag. But I think what's really exciting is, amongst the other categories, it's so open. And I think this is a really rare year for the Oscars in that most of the films nominated are actually good. Usually there's a few stinkers in there that get sort of 8, 9, 10
Name names, Hamish.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Name some names when you're throwing in some stinkers from the past.
Oh, controversial, but Everything Everywhere All at Once, one of the worst Best Picture winners in recent history. Hated it.
No.
Thought it was so overrated. But it's the forgettable ones that I can't remember at this moment that really irk me. The ones that just get awards for no reason. You can't see the merit to it. But yeah, I think it's a really open field with the other ones. So it's like Sinners versus one battle after another. But then you've got the likes of Hamnet and Frankenstein in the Craft Awards maybe. So I think it could be a really interesting night as long as Jessie gets the Oscar.
Jessie, I think, fingers crossed, I can't see beyond one battle after another. Paul Thomas Anderson, we love you. And just to kind of throw it out there, Everything Everywhere All at Once was the film in which a rock, Hamish, a rock made me cry.
Exactly.
Made me cry, so therefore I will always back that film. And it also has Jamie Lee Curtis as well. So we are going to move on. We do have movies to review. One of those, of course, is The Bride with Maggie Gyllenhaal and the aforementioned Jessie Buckley as the bride. But before we get into discussing this latest adaptation of a character that goes back to Mary Shelley's, I think it's a subplot in the original novel, I thought before we get into discussing this latest interpretation for 2026, film historian Robert J E Simpson is going to give us a little bit of info about the character's historical significance.
What happened?
You had an accident.
An accident, huh?
We dug you up, and we brought you back to life.
Mary Shelley's original novel, Frankenstein, or The Modern Prometheus, is about a scientist, Victor Frankenstein, and his attempts to make a man from the bits of corpses. His creation, or his creature. And it's this creation that most of the adaptations will centre around. But Shelley's novel features another creature, a half-made female created under duress as a potential mate for Frankenstein's male creation, a bride. But Frankenstein is so repulsed at the idea of his two creations biologically reproducing that he destroys her, and in revenge, the creature murders Frankenstein's own bride, Elizabeth, on their wedding night. The role of the bride then is that of a tragic figure, a symbol of unfulfilled potential to be complete, and a reminder of the loneliness of existence. The Bride takes on a new iconic status with James Whale's 1935 film sequel, The Bride of Frankenstein, where Elsa Lanchester plays both author Mary Shelley and the bride, wrapped in bandages, her tall hairdo complete with white lightning streaks up the side. A frighteningly beautiful creation who quickly rebels against her arranged marriage and ushers in the fiery climax of the film. We belong dead, indeed. Now, while she never sees life in the novel, the cinematic versions often depict the bride and her avatars as a sort of object of men's desire. A desire that isn't reciprocated and one which will lead to their downfall. She struggles to assert her agency amid a patriarchal society, a rebellion against the norms of her day. She is Eve to the creature's Adam, a beautiful necessity that one needs to be careful around. When Hammer Films played with the idea of a female creation and with 1967's Frankenstein create a woman, they have Peter Cushing's Frankenstein transfer the soul of his assistant Hans into the body of Christina, Hans' crippled lover who killed herself in despair after Hans is wrongly executed. Christina again serves as a bride figure, though a slightly more complicit one. A vengeful figure who reaps destruction against those that had done her and her lover wrong, and against those that would try and use her for their own advantage. She is a siren that clouds the judgment of her prey, and a powerful avenger. Mel Brooks' comic take on the tale, Young Frankenstein, again plays with that idea of the bride as an inciting and an enticing figure, providing both a partner for both Victor Frankenstein, or should that be Frankenstein, and his creation. Now, there's some uncomfortable resistance to the sexual advances of both of the Frankenstein boys, but ultimately, Terry Garr and Madeline Kahn's characters willingly embrace their respective partners. Madeline Kahn, in particular, knowingly ups the sexual appeal of Elsa Lanchester's iconic bride look. In recent years, Lanchester's bride has been embraced across merchandising, giving her a status far in excess of her screen time, and celebrating her as the one true female figure from the Universal Monsters canon. But is she a figure to be feared? Well, Mary Shelley made it clear in her novel that Frankenstein was scared of the bride's potential, and perhaps that's a statement that could be made about toxic masculinity today. It fears the potential and agency of women, and the character is ripe, therefore, for exploration.
So that's film historian Robert J E Simpson giving us a little bit of film history about the character of the bride. And on that note, let's move on and review the latest interpretation of the character.
Please don't hurt me, please. I'm sorry.
What are you sorry for? Did you do something wrong? Something you thought you might get away with?
Stop right there!
This is very much un film Maggie Gyllenhaal. I think this is her second full-blown feature. Anita, we'll come to you first. You were very excited about watching this film because I reached out and said, would you like to come on and review The Bride? I think your text back was, how did you know I wanted to watch The Bride? So, perfect choice. So you were very excited about this film. What's your thoughts on The Bride?
I loved it. I'm probably gonna watch it a couple of times, you know, like to do all the haters, but it's mostly like male critics who were, of course, slamming that movie. It was like, can we have something, you know, like it doesn't need to be like, I don't know, a multi-million action flick. I don't know. It was really interesting. I thought Maggie as a director is brilliant. I really liked it. I liked the visuals. I liked, again, Jessie Buckley as the bride, Christian Bale. It was just such an interesting choice that she made as a director, you know, like a little bit neo-noir, you know, with the head, you know, sorry, spoilers, you know, like the head and her hair, and I loved it. Not just because I want to see more female directors making bold choices like that. I know I had my fair share on Wuthering Heights, you know, but I do understand as a writer and a filmmaker myself, I understand certain choices that you want to adapt a certain piece of literature into something else. So I was a little bit hard on Emerald Fennell, but again, The Bride was...
I think anyone needs to go back and watch that episode. You were not shy with your thoughts towards...
I had to rewatch it again, but I did like The Bride. It's in my top 10. You know, like every time when I see a new movie, another top 10 gets kicked out to the other ones and then goes
Anita,
to the
I'm going
top
to go
10.
out on a limb here. I'm going to say that Wuthering Heights will not be in your top 10 come December 2026.
Probably in the top 70.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's
down
in
on the
there
70
somewhere.
plate. My 100, let's say, in my.
Okay. Well, it's still on the list, so there we go. So I like this film, albeit with reservations. I genuinely do. I love that as I come back, and I know I said that quite piffily, it is very much un film de Maggie Gyllenhaal. It seems to be very much her vision, her idea. I don't know if they all work in the sense that maybe there's too many ideas. We get that kind of the Bonnie and Clyde kind of aesthetic with those characters. I think Christian Bale and Jessie Buckley are great in the central performances. You have Jessie Buckley who's able to kind of go out there and be weird and wonderful and have that kind of the practicalities of the physicality of her performance, as long as just the look. But I just think the politics in it, not that I'm against it, sometimes I think they make difficult bedfellows. And it's that there is a sequence where we see, I think it's the bride, and not to be spoiled, talking about Me Too, and constant references to that. And it just felt, I get it. I think you could do less. You could do more with less. Is my only gripe. But I think, by and large, I love the fact that a film like this exists. In the same way that I know you don't like Wuthering Heights, I still think there's things I admire about that film in the sense that it's a filmmaker, and more importantly, a female filmmaker, being able to go out and do her vision. So, Hamish, Anita and I have talked quite heavily about the film. Where are you going away? You've got your chance now. What did you take off The Bride?
Yeah, I had an absolute blast with this. I thought it was a really interesting take on such a well-known character, and I feel like it's a reclamation of the character. Like in Bride of Frankenstein, the titular bride only arrives with about 2 minutes of the movie left,
and just a scream.
Yeah, so she doesn't really have a character. So I feel like Maggie Gyllenhaal's given the bride agency. She's given her rage, but she's given her softness as well, and I think she plays with it really well. It's she pokes fun at the ridiculousness of and the problematic nature of reanimating a dead woman just to be the mate of Frankenstein's creature, and she pokes fun in that in funny ways with Annette Bening's character, who I think it's one of her best roles in a long time, and no one is really talking about it, but I think she's great in this.
You're talking about it,
Hamish.
And if you're watching, Hamish is talking about it.
I forgot to mention Annette.
Well, you forgot, brilliant. Hamish didn't.
Yeah. So I think as well, just the cast across the board is great fun as well. I love the idea of Christian Bale as Frank, as he's known as this, and he's obviously been around for 100 years now, so what else would he be other than a cinephile obsessed with Jake Gyllenhaal? Like, there's so many fun, playful moments to this that sit alongside with the more heavy topics as well, and I do think, I agree with you, Jim, that in places it is too heavy-handed, but I like what it's saying. It just doesn't say it eloquently enough in places. But then at the same time, I love the female rage. I love the messiness. I love the just unrivaled rage and excitement. Yeah. So I was here for it. I was here for the messiness. I was here for the bits that didn't quite work. But Maggie Gyllenhaal has thrown everything at the wall, and I think most of it has stuck.
And we're talking about actors that aren't getting appreciation in this film. Penelope Cruz. You know, again, for various reasons over the years, I've always been a fan of Penelope Cruz, but I think, again, she is given an interesting role of the person who's almost the secretary to the detective, the male detective, but she's the smart one. She's the one that is cracking the case and hunting down clues. Again, I think that becomes a little bit heavy-handed as it goes on, but yeah, by and large, I think we're all pretty positive about this. And I feel a bit piffy at this point because we're going to now move on from something that's in the cinema to something you could watch at home and something very different.
Give us a beat, throw some stank on it.
Make it nasty.
I'm John Dorian.
You better not be.
Oh, but I am.
Nope.
Retracted.
Can't figure out the rhythm? Or maybe you don't have any.
We're gonna need a secret handshake.
You ready? High five, bring it down.
And then jazz hands if we have time.
Sure.
I'll start with you, Hamish. 2001, this is where I start to feel may or may not be feeling old at this point. I remember being at university and a friend of mine, I think this was in Channel 4, I could be wrong, watching this and just taking us by surprise and just kind of like in the quirky, silly, kind of spaced-esque, Edgar Wright-esque comedy, kind of movie references thrown in there as well. We've got a janitor that's just nasty for nasty's sake. And yeah, I had a lot of fun with this. I wasn't necessarily clamoring to have a revival of Scrubs. But yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised. I don't think it's amazing, I'm going to say it from the get-go, but it's a nice bit of 20-25 minutes of escaping from the doom and gloom we find ourselves in 2026. Were you a fan of Scrubs first time round, and what do you think? We essentially said the first episode. I'll be interested to see if you've watched any more beyond the first episode in this pilot.
Well, in 2001 I was 7, so I have to admit
You were a massive Scrubs fan at that point.
Yeah, of course. So I admit I came to this when it was rerun, and I have to admit I was more of an 8 Simple Rules, Less Than Perfect kind of guy. When it came to the sitcom, Scrubs was on, I would catch sort of 10-15 minutes of it, but I wouldn't really watch it religiously. So when I heard this was coming back, my first thought was flatline. This is just, we've run out of ideas. These actors have no other roles to go back to, so bring Scrubs back, why not? So I watched it and I wasn't very invested, and then Joel Kim Booster walked in and suddenly I was invested.
For purely artistic reasons.
Of course, definitely. But no, I've actually been pleasantly surprised by it because I didn't think it would be my kind of thing. But I think what I'm most impressed about it is how dissimilar it feels, and that is a compliment. Sometimes that can be a bad thing, but I think at times when they bring back these old shows and they just feel awkward and it doesn't work anymore, this is the opposite. I feel like if it wasn't for the age of the actors and turkey teeth, ironically, I don't think you'd actually be able to tell much of a difference because it carries it on in the way that the original felt. So I thought it felt familiar in a good way, and then it's been updated with the type of humor, the sort of the Gen Z interns who are quite sensitive, and the HR department having to keep a real handle, bring everything down. I think is a really fun angle to do it, which will appeal to, I think, a new audience and then the people that grew up with it. So I'm surprised, but I have actually watched all 3 episodes that are out at the minute and I'm really enjoying it.
So you're going to stick with it?
I think so.
There we go. So I'm pleased. I agree with everything you say, by the way. I think it manages to be authentic to what the original was, but it also does a clever thing of bringing, it's like what we talk about with particularly horror movies and horror franchises, the legacy characters are brought back, but we've got a new cast as well. Anita, were you a fan of Scrubs first time round?
Yes.
You know, don't make me feel old. Where you went in here? So 2001,
2001, I was 10.
Okay, massive Scrubs fan.
Massive Scrubs fan, but it was because of my siblings. So it's one of our favorite show. We watched it after school, so there was I don't know, back then, early 2000s, you know, OC California and all those things. I don't know, it was always on TV, like all those different, and then Scrubs, and I liked it because there was no laugh track. I'm not really the biggest fan of that. They just put me out.
You have went back, you've rewatched it.
Yeah.
Now we have season 10. I'm not sure if it's season 10 or if they're redubbing it as in season 1 of this new revival, but what do you think?
I really enjoyed it. I cried, I don't know, because there's so many emotional moments as well in the show. I can already say a couple of what my favorite moments are. I cried, I laughed. I thought I was not really happy about JD and Elliot, but because it's JD and Elliot, I do get it. They will definitely get back together. That's just JD and Elliot.
Will they, won't they? Yeah.
It's always been like that since the first episode. So yeah, of course, they are 2 stubborn people. Of course, they're gonna get divorced, but they will probably get back together. Turk and Carla, I love them all, of course. I'm a big fan of Scrubs.
You're a big fan of Scrubs. So largely positive on Scrubs. So as we move on, here at BANTERFLIX on this series, we've been trying our best to showcase local film groups, societies, organisations that are getting people's bums on seats to watch cinemas, maybe not in a traditional big screen setting. And the last few weeks we've been largely Belfast based. We're moving out of the city, we're moving up to County Down, to Portaferry, and we're going to be showcasing the Ferry Film Club, with their screening of Saipan later this month.
We're gonna have to work, aren't we?
And to acclimatise. There's been a bit of an issue. I've been promised some things that haven't been delivered.
We don't have footballs.
We can manage without that stuff.
Without footballs.
It'd be better if we had footballs.
The Ferry Film Club obviously is new to Portaferry, and it's been established over this last couple of months, really, and it's all about supporting our community. It's a local film idea focused on our community and connection, bringing guys together and giving them somewhere a bit closer to home to be able to go and watch good films, whether that be best in class, cult films, modern greats, or even maybe some of the new films that come out. That's what we hope to do across the British, Irish, independent films, and even some family classics that we hope to show over the coming months. Our first showing is only in a couple of weeks now, so it's on the 26th of March, and it's going to be held at the St Patrick's Community Centre in Portaferry. And that's our plan, to hold all the films there. So we're going to be holding it there on the 26th for our first screening, and it's going to be the Irish drama of Saipan, and it's all based there. So if you don't know about it, it's an interesting battle between manager and captain, and you'll be able to see that play out then and how that all unfolded. The doors open at 6:45. The film starts at 7:15. We'll have a wee tea and coffee afterwards, and time for a chat, and let us know what you thought of the film, and also let us know what you might think for common films that you'd like to see being shown, because we're always open to ideas here at the Ferry Film Club, and it's all about the community, as I say. So it's great to get your feedback and input into what you'd potentially like to see being shown in the future. So come along, support us. You can buy the tickets online now. You'll get us on our Facebook page at the Ferry Film Club, and obviously you can reach out to myself or anybody on the community, Hillary there as well, who's obviously the brainchild of this wonderful idea. So yeah, thank you very much for your time. We'll hope to see you at our very first film showing on the 26th of March. And that's my wee piece done, and you take care and see you all soon.
I think we're done.
No, we're not done. You don't ever tell me when we're done. I'm just getting started.
I think you watched this for the first time for us, Anita.
Yes.
So I'll maybe come to you first. I don't know if you're a big football fan, if you remember the second Civil War, as it was dubbed. Were you team Mick McCarthy or were you team Roy Keane? I don't know. So your thoughts on Saipan and all those supplementary questions I threw at you.
So when you sent me that I need to watch Saipan for this episode, I rolled my eyes and I was like, oh no, what am I watching this? It's a football movie. I don't know anything. I don't know anything about Ireland. The only football that I watch is when Croatia plays, you know.
Luka Modric.
Yes, thank you. So I do get then pride, you know, for football, for your national team. I didn't know that, and then I watched it. It was actually really good. It was brilliant. I really enjoyed the movie. I didn't know that Roy Keane was his name, that he was such a diva.
Roy Keane would love to be called a diva.
Yes, I was like, oh my God, that's such a diva. I'm like, with that scandal, I do get it, because we do love a little bit of like sport as well. In the Balkans, we love sports drama, so I do get it, and it was brilliantly shot. The characters were really, really good. Casting. So when I looked the real people up, I didn't know who it was. I'm so sorry, Ireland.
When we review the biopic of Luka Modric, I'm sure we will offend you.
Hopefully one day they're gonna make one.
I'm sure at that point we will offend you. But yeah, Ian Hardwick and Steve Coogan. Steve Coogan, this is the type of role, truth be told, he could do in his sleep. He has done these kind of roles before, the kind of someone who, it's not an Alan Partridge performance, but it's that sense of someone who's kind of not a bumbling idiot, but is very self-assured in themselves and what they think should happen, and the polar opposite of Roy Keane. And again, on that note, Ian Hardwick is the complete polar opposite of Roy Keane that we know through the public image, and I think you're the same him. I think you've got an opportunity to speak to him before.
You met
absolutely, absolutely lovely person in real life, really thoughtful, very different from Roy Keane. I know we did an interview with him on the show at the time at the Belfast Film Festival, but yeah, fantastic performance. I coming back to that point, just on what you mentioned, Anita, it's not real. Yes, there is football, and you could almost throw a joke in. There's very little football because they don't have balls at one point, but it's almost kind of Shakespearean in the idea of you get of this clash of two very different people, and there's only one way it's going to end. So yeah, I don't think you need to be interested in football or know anything. It's that. But anyway, Hamish, this is the point where I've rambled on far too much. What do you think of the film?
I'm not a big football fan, if you can believe it. So I didn't really know the details of this story. I knew of it, but I couldn't have explained it to you.
Well, I was doing my maths, you were 8 at the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So massive football fan. No, but so I think going in not knowing, it actually worked against me, I think, in this instance, because it's sort of framed with the 23 days to the World Cup, 19 days to the World Cup, and that builds the sense of urgency and the passing of time. So I was kind of expecting the climax to be at the World Cup. So when the film ends, I was kind of thinking, oh, where's the rest of it? But I think when I rewatch it, I don't think that will be an issue. I think just not knowing the details of it, sort of, I was thinking ahead when I should have just been watching what was in front of me, because what is in front of you is very good. I think, as you say, the casting's great. I think Ian Hardwick especially is brilliant. Just he has that constant aggravation on his face that everything is irking him, and I think he's brilliant at that. And it is shot really well too. I just think maybe the content of the story, I don't know if it lends itself to a movie. I think maybe this is the type of thing that could maybe work better as a TV special or something. But when it looks as good as it does, and the cast are as fun as they are and committed, without going over the top, which I think is a really good choice, because it would have been very easy to go into caricature with this, but they play it really straight. So yeah, I think now that I know the story a bit better, I think when I rewatch it, it's going to work a lot better for me. But I had a lot of good fun.
That was quite a scandal in Ireland.
Yeah. And one final shout out just to Glenn and Lisa, the directorial duo behind it. Yet again, this is their fourth feature. I haven't put a foot wrong, and yeah, I'm a huge fan of Saipan. So yes, as we said, it's screening at the Ferry Film Club later this month. Check it out, and thank you very much for the guys for getting in touch now. So all that's left for me to do now is thank my guests here in the studio. So thank you very much, Anita.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hamish. Thank you very much as well for watching, as to Robert J E Simpson, and of course the members of the Ferry Film Club. We'll be back next week with our Banters Awards special. But for now, until then, goodbye.